Welcome to the Serpentine Creative channel. I'm your host, Stella Williams, and today I'll be reviewing Black Girl Magic, an urban paranormal romance by Joi Miner. Before I get into my review, I'd like to give a little disclaimer that this book was purchased with my own coins. It was not solicited. Uh, this review was not solicited in any way, shape, or form. I don't know Joi Miner or associate with the publishing company. This is out of my own free will that I read and will review this book. So, Black Girl Magic is basically about three super fantastic sisters or sis stars, as they're referred to in the book, who are destined to rule their kingdom or realm of Olorun. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. And so the three sisters are Wilhelmina, Phoenix, and Kadir. So Wilhelmina is the youngest, and she stayed home with Mama, and she's the light and joy. Phoenix is a cop in the human realm, and she's like law, justice, and rules. And then Kadir is like this succubus who's into like sex, and she's a stripper. And these three very different sisters sisters have to come together to defeat the darkness that one of them is going to birth. So it's a really interesting premise, and I will have to say that I really enjoyed where I think the author was trying to go with this book, but in execution, I found it a little haphazard. Like, I honestly felt this book needed to be three different books, each book focusing on one of the sisters until the final battle at the end. I wanted to enjoy this book so much, but I will say that I almost DNF'd it, to be honest. Getting into the first chapter, it was a little confusing because the author, in her way of promoting diversity in this book, was in using different African languages for her characters. And in her description in the back of the book, she says that she chose like Yoruba for her main female characters, and then like the evil people used Somali, and it was just kind of a lot. I really appreciate her wanting to use African languages in the book, but like I said, in execution, it just really bogged down the storyline. I felt the need to want to skip whole sections that would have led me to miss key points in her plot, just because I went from the reading direct Yoruba to, in parentheses, the translations. So I felt like if she would have worked around it a little bit more, maybe didn't make it so heavy in another language, it would have been easier of a read and a little less confusing as to what was actually going on. Because if you're like jumping between different languages a lot, it's distracting from the actual plot. Also, some of the terminology she chose to use as far as describing her characters was a little heavy-handed for me. The use of sistar, kingdom, feminine and masculine instead of male female, which I enjoyed the feminine masculine description wise because it leaves that room for interpretation, and kind of like gets you out of that gender binary sort of thing, because they say feminine or masculine, but that doesn't necessarily mean man or female and male or female in the way that typical American society, cisgender society would do. So there was a lot of good things about this book, but honestly, there was just so much going on that it was just really hard to get through it. So if I had to give like a star rating, I would say this would get like from 1 to 5. Let's just do straight kind of like Amazon review or Goodreads. 1 to 5, this book, it's like a 3 for me, because I really think that they had a great idea as far as their plot. Just the execution wasn't there for me. Yeah. So hopefully this author keeps at it. As far as I could tell, this is her first paranormal romance book. And it mentioned in the book that she planned to write more paranormal romance, but at the moment she hasn't written any more. So that's my review. And if you're wondering the spice level, because that is important in paranormal romance, I would say that this is more of a seduction tale, not necessarily like, I mean, it starts out with a bang. Like, it opens up with a scene of self-gratification. So I was expecting a lot more when it came to the actual sex in this book, but there wasn't really any. It was just a lot of, glances and hand holding and just like feeling. So I would say that this book is a lot more sensual than sexual. So if you're one of those people that wants to get into paranormal romance but aren't really into that like dark kind of BDSM sort of thing that I find in like a lot of vampire novels and stuff, then this might be a happy introduction for you if you can get past the excessive language use. And yeah, so that's Black Girl Magic by Joi Miner. And I'll drop links for the books in the description below. If you've read the book, feel free to share your views in the comments. And I would say not to write this book or this author off completely. This is a first paranormal romance novel, and I could tell that there was a lot of excitement and thought put into it. So, and the storyline is an interesting read if you can figure it out. All right, so I read this book for Blackathon, and the next up on my TBR for Blackathon is going to be The Shifter Bachelor by Shy August. So check in next Wednesday for that review. And if you can't wait for more from me, then you can check out my blog, serpentinecreative.com/blog. As well as on Friday, I will be posting an AuthorTube post for the writing process. All right, so check that out, and I will see y'all later. Thanks for watching.